She was born Ann Margret Olson in April of 1941. Her amazing career over 50 years led to 5 Golden Globes, an Emmy, and a whole host of nominations, including 2 for an Oscar. Whether you associate her with Elvis or your favorite musical, you'll be delighted to discover she's still one of the classiest human beings on the planet. She was born in Sweden, but at the age of 6, she moved to Wilmette, Illinois with her parents. She had difficulty adjusting to the American culture, and that led this young girl to find solace in song and dance. After winning several local talent shows and performing in church choirs, it was clear that her talent was more than just a passing phase. Her big break came after American comedian George Burns heard her singing at the Dunes Hotel in Las Vegas, and he immediately offered the then 18-year-old girl a 10-night performance stint at the Sahara Hotel. From that point on, Ann Margret became a household name. She brought her breathy vocals and her top-notch dance moves to some of the hottest films and musicals in Hollywood's golden age. After she moved to Illinois with her family, she ended up living upstairs in a funeral parlor where her mother worked. At just 11 years old, she slept next to a bunch of caskets. She's not a natural redhead. She was born a brunette, and she had her hair dyed red for the film State Fair. The same Hollywood hairstylist that did Lucille Ball's hair was the one that gave her her signature look. Now, she loves motorcycles. I've seen interviews with her where she said her father had quite a few of them, and so she learned this love of motorcycles from an early age. She's had a few accidents, too. She had an accident in Minnesota resulting in broken ribs and a fractured shoulder. After she learned that an unauthorized biography about her life was in the works, she ended up writing an autobiography to beat the other book to the presses. She only went to college briefly. She attended Northwestern University in Illinois as a speech major from 1959 to 1960, before she started pursuing her acting career full-time. In 1962, the film State Fair, she was paid roughly $5,000. But by 1964, she was paid $275,000 for her role in Viva Las Vegas alongside Elvis Presley. In 1963, she lent her voice and vocals to an episode of The Flintstones in which the character's name was actually Ann Margret. She was initially cast in 1964 in the movie Bye Bye Birdie after director George Sidney saw her dancing the twist with a man at a nightclub. He immediately called her in to chat about the role. Ann has been an avid supporter of American soldiers. She joined the USO, performing tours throughout Vietnam alongside fellow performers Chuck Day and Mickey Jones. She often performed in front of 20,000 soldiers while thanking them for their service. After appearing in the film Viva Las Vegas alongside Elvis Presley, they developed a romantic relationship that spanned the course of many years. Elvis has been thought to send a bouquet of flowers to all of her stage shows until his death in 1977. It definitely sounds like something Elvis would do. After she received a Harley-Davidson motorcycle as a gift from actor Burt Reynolds, she had the bike custom painted lavender with white lettering, enclosing the Harley-Davidson logo in white daisies. In 1972, she fell from the scaffolding in a Lake Tahoe production number and came very close to death and physical disfigurement. Her husband was her manager at the time, and he insisted that the doctors fly her to L.A. to have surgery to repair the damage that was done to her face from the inside of her mouth instead of the outside, so that it wouldn't impact her beauty. She now says that that was a turning point in her career. As she recovered, she read and personally answered every one of over 1,000 letters that she received, and she began to develop a new philosophy about performing. She stated that she was scared when she would get on stage originally, and she would look over the people's heads so that she didn't have to have a personal connection. Now as she performs, she looks straight into the eyes of those same audience members, thinking that some of those people are probably the ones that wrote her letters during her recovery time. She states that the accident really showed her something, and it made her much freer on stage. She's been asked what was her favorite cities that she's visited while she was working, and her answer is emphatically Charleston, South Carolina. She says that she's just crazy about that town and the people. She states that they're so polite, so sweet, and helpful. When she's been asked if she had mementos from her favorite films, her answer is yes, and her favorite is from Viva Las Vegas with Elvis Presley. They made the movie in 1963, and it came out in 64. And she still has the red top that she wore in the gym sequence where she's dancing with Elvis. She says it's a little bit tighter nowadays, but she still has it. As an actress, she's best known for her roles in Bye Bye Birdie in 1963, the Elvis flick Viva Las Vegas in 1964, The Cincinnati Kid in 1965, and Carnal Knowledge in 1971. In 1993, she was in Grumpy Old Men. In 1995, she was in Grumpier Old Men. Throughout the 1970s, she balanced her live musical performances with a string of dramatic film roles that played against her glamorous image. In 1973, she starred with John Wayne in The Train Robbers. Then came the musical Tommy in 1975, which she again was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. On August 17, 1977, Ann Margret and her husband Roger Smith traveled to Memphis to attend Elvis Presley's funeral. 3 months later, she hosted Memories of Elvis, featuring versions of Elvis's 1968 TV and Aloha Hawaii specials. Ann was the early choice by Alan Carr to play the role of Sandy Dombrowski in the 1978 film Grease. At 37 years of age, she was ultimately determined to be too old to convincingly play the role of a high school student. Olivia Newton-John got the role instead, and the character was renamed Sandy Olson after Ann Margaret's birth surname in her honor. Ann has no children, but she was stepmother to 3 children of her husband, Roger Smith, who was an actor who later became her manager. She and Smith were married May 8th of 1967 until his death in June of 2017. Prior to that, she dated Eddie Fisher, and then, as we said, she was definitely linked romantically to Elvis. She's still very active in her profession. She's had a recurring role in the Showtime original series Ray Donovan, and she's still making guest appearances on quite a few television programs. Thank you so much, Ann Margret, for your amazing career. You are a joy to watch. Watching Viva Las Vegas, it's unbelievable to imagine anybody else in that role with Elvis other than you. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.